Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today is the second week of me trading my 50k Topstep Combine, so let's jump across and see what happened this week. So here we are. As you can see, another losing week. That's 2 losing weeks in a row for me right now. We had one small winning trade on Tuesday, which was a break even basically, and then a full loss on Thursday and another full loss on Friday, guys. 3 trades taken again this week. Let's just jump straight into the charts and see what happened. There we go. First trade of the week, Tuesday. Actually, real briefly, I'm just going to go over this Monday move here. So just like last week, just like every week, I don't like to try and trade Mondays, because usually, through experience, I've found Mondays are actually pretty bad and usually not the best day of the week. Just happened to be that last week and the last 2 weeks in a row now, the Monday has been a really good day to trade on. Probably the best day, because it's in the direction of the weekly bias, which is bullish. Both days they've really run on both the last Mondays. You can see last Monday here, 2 Mondays ago, and then last Monday here. So I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even look at the chart on Monday, so I did miss out on this nice move here, which went high from this 1 hour for value gap here. You see there's no executions, I didn't trade at all. This price action fractal here, I just want to briefly mention, like this section, this consolidation here. Now ideally we had this displacement on Friday here, which I was already bullish. I was looking for a price to go above this high, right? And so on Friday last week, which my executions don't show anymore after a week, they go away, I bought this, oh that's a line, oops. I bought this for value gap here last week, Friday, looking for a run to that buy side. As we can see, it consolidated all day, went lower than this low, this swing low here, which really price shouldn't really do that if it's going in that direction. But it took that as sell side liquidity, displaced again on Monday in that direction of that buy side. This time it respected the fair value gap and actually ran to that buy side. On the day that on Monday, when I actually don't usually like to trade Mondays, and on Friday, which I did trade on, and I do like to trade Fridays, it didn't run on that day. So we're just getting super unlucky lately, really. Like this section of price here, it shouldn't really have gone below that swing low and then still go higher. So this tells me it's like quite a ranging seek and destroy type environment, which is also really not great to trade in, at least on this time frame, the time frame that I'm trying to kind of read my order flow on and stuff. But anyway, so Monday didn't trade, missed out on a nice big move. Tuesday. Now what happened on Tuesday? So Tuesday was a small break-even trade. I'll take you down to the 15-minute chart, and I think it was 15-minute? No, it was 5-minute actually. And show you the setup I took. So this was the first trade of the week. I sold this for value gap right here. It's a SIBI, sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. I put my stop loss at this swing high here. Okay, stop loss went at that swing high. After we took this buy side liquidity, this was my whole idea, right? So this buy side was taken here. It displaced below this intermediate term low here. Displaced. When it came back up inside that SIBI, I sold short with my stop loss above that high, and I was potentially entertaining the idea that it would run down to that weekly for value gap. If you look on the weekly chart on gold, there's a big open weekly for value gap right now. I was entertaining the idea price may want to go down there. I didn't know how long it would take to go down there, but I knew it was probably going to go in that direction, right? So I sold myself short. TP was definitely, I would have held on if it had ran all the way down there, but it didn't. It didn't even run here to these equal lows. It stopped just here and then went sideways. And at the end of my rules are I can't leave the trade unless my stop loss is hit or my take profit is hit, right? And we had no sort of take profit hit, stop loss wasn't hit, and so at the end of the market day when the market closed, stop loss kicked me out. and I made a plus $70 or something, you saw. So that was the small win break-even trade that we had. Now going to the next day. I'm just going to really try and get through this quickly for you guys. So that was Tuesday. Wednesday we had FOMC, as you can see, crazy big move. Didn't trade Wednesday either, to the downside. Then on Thursday, this was my biggest losing trade yet on this account, $251, which is right at my limit of my risk. So I didn't over leverage, but I'm actually very not happy with this trade, because when I took this trade, it's actually not a very good quality setup. And looking back, I wish I'd never taken this trade. It really was no model there. It was an impulse thing. I remember feeling I wasn't even going to trade this day, Thursday. I wasn't going to trade it because I just looked at the chart and I was like, oh, I don't know if it's going higher on the daily chart or lower. I really can't really determine. I probably shouldn't take a trade, you know. But then at the end of the day, you know, I sat down on my computer. It was AM session. I was looking at the charts, you know, I was watching it, and I thought I don't know, it was like this impulse thing, and I just kind of, it's weird. It's like I couldn't even stop myself. Like I clicked enter while I was looking at the chart. Like, yeah, it definitely made a mistake with this trade here. I'll show you the setup anyway, but it's really not that great. So if we go to the 1 minute, I was looking at the 1 minute apparently. So here it is right here. So you can see I actually took this fair value up here, buy side inefficiency, sell side, buy side inbound, sell side inefficiency. So like this, right? Stop loss at this low. And I was targeting potentially these equal highs, potentially something further up, but that would have been a good target, those equal highs. But as we can see, obviously, I was completely wrong in the bias, in the direction, and it went lower. But even though this was wrong because it was a wrong direction, wrong bias, it's really not the strongest setup. Like, look at this. It's literally, it went down, it created this consolidation. It took like realistically, my model is there because realistically it took a swing low here, right? This was sell side liquidity. Then it went above an intermediate term high, which formed inside of this imbalance, and it displaced as well. So technically the model is there, but it's really not highly probable, because even though it went above this intermediate term high, really it's just going above equal highs further into this really large SIBI, right? Get rid of this one. Really, it's just going further into this bearish SIBI, right? So I wouldn't say it's a violation of order flow just because it went further into that SIBI. I realistically should have been bearish and sold short here, put my stops at that high. If I was bearish, I should have sold short in here, put my stops at this high, and looked for like previous day low here. That would have been a really good trade if I'd taken that. But for some reason, I don't know, no, I remember why. Actually. This is why that was an impulse trade, yes. It wasn't the greatest setup. I took it anyway. It was an impulse entry. The entry was on impulse. I need to get better at not doing that. But there was a reason I was bullish, and I'll show you why. We'll just quickly turn the executions off so they're not in the way, so I can show the chart. So going to the daily chart. Now on this day, Friday, Thursday, this down close candle is Thursday. Now on this day, I was bullish because if you have a look here, there's a daily fair value gap. We're going to mark it in blue because it's a BISI, buy side imbalance, sell side efficiency. Now this daily candle here, we can see clearly closing below this daily fair value gap, right? Which anyone who knows their stuff is the next day is going to be what? They're going to be bearish because that is closed below it, right? So it disrespected the fair value gap. So most likely potentially it's going to use it as an inversion for value and trade lower. Yes. However, I was bullish. Why are you bullish on this day, Jacob? Look at that daily candle close. It closed below it. Why would you be bullish on the next day? That doesn't make any sense. Because if we zoom into, I want to have a look at this dealing range. Now, yes, there is a daily for value gap in there. We're just going to leave it marked so you can see. Daily for value gap. I'm actually just going to jump across to trading view right now because I can't show you in this because I need to go to the, I think the 8 hour, 6 hour, 8 hour, and you can't do those time frames on Topstep X. So I'm just going to jump across real quickly to trading view to show you this on the time frame that I want to look at. This low to this high, there's a dealing range inside of that, and I'm just going to go into this 8 hour here, I think it was. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so yes, the daily candle closed below the daily for value gap. However, if we look inside this dealing range, we can see there's actually this section of inefficiency here is not just limited to that daily for value gap. Okay, it's actually, there's more to it, to the downside here. You can see that this displacement, if we look on a different time frame, we can see there's actually a BISI down here. So this displacement is bigger than just that day, what the daily chart is showing. There's more there. And so I thought, if we look at this candle here, it's 8 hours, weird time frame. But both these candles here were trading inside of this 8 hour BISI. Okay, so I actually was bullish because I was looking at this dealing range and anticipating respect at this discount for value gap, discount BISI, right? Right in that OTE section there. I was anticipating respect because the candles were closing inside it as well, and higher prices. That's why I was bullish, okay? So highlighting that here, we can see that 1 minute trade that I took. Even though realistically I shouldn't have taken this because it was not a great 1 minute setup anyway. We can see it actually dipped into this 8 hour fair value gap, which it previously had done here, but went back above it, showing respect of this on the high time frame, and then it was dipping back down into it here. And so I was potentially expecting a continued run outside of that to the upside, right, back into the premium half of that dealing range, but it never happened. Okay, so yeah, technically I didn't break any rules, like the setup was there, but this is not a very strong setup, I would say, and I do kind of regret taking this, and I do distinctly remember entering off impulse. I was looking at it and it was printing live and I was like, oh, I shouldn't take that, no, I'm going to wait for something like this intermediate term high to be violated with stronger displacement on like the 5 minute or something, you know, higher, something more, and then all of a sudden it dipped down into it and I just impulse bought, and I was like, oh, stop loss, it was definitely not something I want to do again, something I want to learn to not do again. Yeah, that kind of entry off impulse like that, it's always not a good thing. So moving on to the last trade of the week now. So now this is my kind of analysis, right? So now we have a daily candle strong close below this daily inversion, which we had before. Now we have another close below, and this time we've actually disrespected that 8 hour dealing range. So in here, where there's more of inefficiencies in here on the different time frame, we're now closed below that as well. So now I'm anticipating that whole section of inefficiency, which you can only see part of here on the daily chart, is now being used as inversion, and we're actually going lower, probably to this sell side liquidity and that weekly BISI consequent encroachment, which is right below that daily intermediate term low. Okay, so that's my analysis telling me now we're definitely bearish. Obviously I was wrong, so we took a loss again, but you can see that this was actually a valid trade that I took, this last one of the week on the Friday. Turn the executions back on, charts, show, save. So this one, again, this was not really impulse, this was actually like more legit entry. I was still wrong, but because we displaced away from that daily for value gap, we realistically should have just kept running lower there, but I figured on Friday when I woke up, like just after Asian range. I wake up about just before midnight open New York time. I saw we were trading inside this hourly SIBI, right? We're trading inside the hourly SIBI. We have that weekly BISI open to the downside. We have all these super relative equal lows. It looks like support, like so much looks like support. I don't really want to be bullish in this scenario. We violated this displacement here to the downside. You can see that low got taken out there. So we're not respecting bullish order flow at all. Not on the daily chart, not on this time frame either. And so I was like, yeah, I don't see why. There was nothing wrong with me selling this SIBI with a stop loss at that high and looking for that a continued expansion to the downside to that weekly BISI. Obviously, we didn't happen. We ended up finding support at the low of this hourly SIBI, and then we ended up running straight to those equal highs there and stopping me out for a $160 something loss. So that's basically my whole trading week. Small win, stopped out at break even. Essentially, loss, offside, didn't actually go lower, more of a sideways day. And then Friday did actually go higher, but I was bearish on Friday, so that's why I took a loss. This trade I'm completely happy with. It was valid and it wasn't a loss. This trade I'm not happy with. If I could go back, I actually wouldn't take it again. It was entered off impulse. I should have waited for more confirmation of seeing higher prices before taking this entry. If I'd waited and exercised patience, I would have taken that loss. And this day, I'm actually happy with that trade. I think that was pretty well. I think at this point in time, it was pretty. Everything was lined up to seeing lower prices realistically. It's a shame we're in this really weird, like, seek and destroy kind of like rangy type environment right now, which is back here would have been lovely to trade, back here. But ever since I started last week, you can see last week it was like this. This week it was like this as well. Monday really were only 2 good days to trade on, and days that were obviously bullish, but I didn't trade on those days. The rest of the week choppy, lost, losing week. This week choppy, lost this week as well. Yeah, so not great. Let's jump back across to TradingView and let's do a quick weekly outlook into next week and see what my plan is going into next week. Looking at next week, this is what the weekly chart looks like on gold. Now, just looking at that weekly chart, what do you think the next weekly candle is going to do? I would say most likely expand to the upside, but we do still have obviously this inefficiency open down here. Price may still trade down to that at some point in the future. We don't know exactly when, but at some point in the future it may do that. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. Going to the daily chart. Now, we are actually, if we look here, this daily for value, we are actually still closing. You see the daily candle is actually closed inside of this, which means this is in potential still an inversion for value gap, okay? Because the daily candle is closing inside of it, right here, we could have treated support and run away from it, but we didn't. We traded back down through it, closed below it. Now we're going back into it and we've closed inside it, okay? So this is still bearish order flow respect on the daily chart, okay? Now, it could have potentially, maybe it's just like a real high resistance liquidity run condition, and it's trading back to this to reclaim this daily BISI, and then it's just going to keep freaking going higher forever and ever, right? Maybe it could do that. Probably, to be honest, because, yeah, but technically, if we look at this BISI, it was not used as support, it was traded through, it was disrespected, and then we trade back to it and close it, okay? So potentially, Monday, if we were to not gap higher open next week above this, and this also look at this daily, we're just going to mark real quickly, we're just going to mark this daily volume balance as well here. So see, we're also closed on the inside of that daily volume imbalance, And if we mark the quarterly levels, I think you can see, yeah, we're pretty much closed on the constant encroachment of that daily volume imbalance there, okay? So if we gap higher, this is what I'm going to look for next week, okay? Currently, with the information that I have, right? This could change it intra-week, obviously, but with the current information I have, this is what I'm going to look for. This is what I'm going to look for next week. If we gap high on Monday and open above this inversion for value gap and this daily volume balance, then I'm gonna move to being bullish for the remainder of the week and just trying to just be bullish for the rest of the week and just look for up close days, okay? If we open next week with a gap lower or right next to the close of last week, and therefore still respecting the inversion for Vega on the daily chart, I may be bearish. I don't know, we'll see. If, let's say we open on Monday, I may even trade Monday. If we open on Monday next week, right, trade up a little bit, take some kind of high or something, then displace strongly to the downside during like London or something, and then New York trades back up into that London displacement, guess what? I'll probably go short and look for this run down to this weekly BISI, okay? That's pretty much the only scenario where I'm going to be short. Other than that, I'm kind of going to try and force myself to just be bullish, because even though we've disrespected this one daily for value gap, it's not be all end all. It doesn't mean we're definitely going lower. More likely in this type of condition, it's just better to just remain bullish and expect movement to the upside when you're trading in all-time highs. It's just how you should treat this scenario. Just always be bullish. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But depending on those two things, that scenario that I told you about, I may be bearish. Other than that, I'm probably going to remain bullish, especially if we gap higher, open above these PD arrays, and then treat those as respect during like London or New York, and then, displace the upside. I'm just going to be bullish. So yeah, that's my idea going into next week. Again, I'm going to try to just take one really good quality trade next week. We'll see what happens. I tend to be taking 3 trades a week lately, which is, it's okay. But I'm also on a losing streak, 2 weeks now of losses. So I really need to be careful. Another 2 more weeks of losing and I could blow this account in losing trade streak, So if that happens, I don't know what we'll do after that. I might reset it. I might try again, maybe not. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. But I do need to be careful and really be confident in my bias. Wait, and if I'm not confident, do nothing. But if I am confident in a bias, then I need to execute with precision and no impulsive executioning, no impulsive executions, and no umming and ahhing. I should be absolute in my bias, and if a setup forms, I should absolutely be in it and put the risk at the correct location and accept the risk. That's how I should be, but be very, very hesitant and just very careful to be very confident in my bias, because price has really not been great. The last 2 weeks we've seen a lot of sideways seek and destroy kind of profile action on the 1 hour, 4 hour, which is not great for me, as you can see in 2 losing weeks. Alrighty guys, so that's pretty much going to be it. Thanks for watching. Good luck training next week, and I'll see you next weekend.